Hello Year 1. This is now lesson 2 in mass, how heavy or how light something is. So if we look at our first picture in focus, and we've got a car here and we've got some cubes, just like we use at school, these types of cubes. Okay, and it says, how do we find the mass of the toy car? In other words, how can we find out how heavy it is? And we're using these cubes. What could we do? I'll cover that picture. What could we do? That's right. If we put the car on one side, that tells us how heavy that car is. And then we could put the cubes on here one at a time until we see it balanced. So they're the same level, the two pans, and that's how many cubes. Now, these cubes are like these that we use in school. Do they all have to be the same? Could we use bigger cubes or smaller cubes? What do you think? Like we used for capacity when we had to use cups. How many cups? Did those cups have to be the same size to see which was half and quarter? Yes, they did. So these cubes all have to be the same. Right, so we're going to put the car in here. And how many? Let's have a look. The car goes in here. And we put in some cubes, and it's the same. So this is now balanced. This is the same. And there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cubes. We call a cube just a unit, like a unit, one object. So we could say the toy car is as heavy as 5 cubes, or the mass of the toy car, remember the weight, the mass, how heavy it is about 5 units. Okay, 1 cube can be used to mean 1 unit. It didn't have to be cubes, it could have been something else, but they all have to be the same. Let's have a look at number 2. There's a pair of boots here, and the pair of boots have been put in this pan scale, and then Sam has put in cubes to make it weigh the same. And he's found that he's put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 cubes. Just fits in there. So he says the pair of boots is as heavy as, the same because the scales are balanced. The red line is pointing down to the arrow. The pair of boots is as heavy as 8 cubes. And the mass of the pair of boots is about 8 units. Can we use other objects to measure mass? What do you think? Or is it only cubes? Yes, we can, as long as they're all the same. Let's turn over and see what's on the next page. There's a little challenge to do. Now, this is going to be a bit tricky because it does say you need some weighing scales, some pan scales, but it says, look at objects around you. Perhaps again you can use your hands and feel what's the same. Look for objects around you in the house. Guess the mass of each object. Use cubes. Now if you haven't got cubes, perhaps you have buttons all the same size, or little objects all the same size. They have to be the same. And can you measure the mass of the objects you're trying? Let's have a look at the guided practice. And it's asking you to measure. 1 cube shows 1 unit. So this is a jar and it's been weighed, it's been put in as scales on this side, and on the other side the units are the same weight, it's the same mass. And it's asking you that the mass of the jar is about how many units? That's right. All you need to do is count them, and we can count in twos. 2, 4, 6. So the mass of the jar is about 6 units. Again, look, it's the same weight. The pans are the same level, and our long red line is pointing at the arrow. And it says that a triangle, 1 triangle, so it doesn't have to be a cube or a square, is a unit. So one of those is 1 unit. So the mass of the rubber duck is how many units on here? Can you count them? How many red Triangles, can you count? That's right, it's 3. 1, 2, 3. So the mass of the rubber duck is about 3 units. Have a go at worksheet 2, pages 137 to 138.